Have you ever thought that Minecraft is the best survival sandbox crafting experience, only to get yourself hyped, boot up the game for the next playthrough, and find yourself blankly staring at the desktop icon just 2 days later? A lot of the players I spoke to usually have these so-called Minecraft phases, when they want to play the game non-stop for a few days or weeks and then get burnt out for the next year or so. The major issue with Minecraft is its poor pacing of the tech progression. I mean, you can pretty much boot up the game, throw yourself into a vast cave, get iron and some diamonds in the average span of 20 minutes. But then you may think to yourself, the solution is simple, just mod the game. And while that is true, it is also undeniable that Minecraft suffers from poor optimization, and the Windows 10 version is most definitely not favored among the players. So if you have a monkey brain with neurons getting activated when a game allows you to pick rocks and grass and bushes and sticks and mine rocks and build stuff, but you just wish Minecraft was a bit different, I present to you Vintage Story. I've heard about this game for the first time merely a few days ago when I was watching a Dwarf Fortress stream by Von Galactic. Shout out to Von, by the way, he makes some high quality content. The chatters there told me that the game was created by two people, Tyron and Arena, who were both passionate for Minecraft and modding. After creating a Minecraft mod, they realized the limitations of the game and decided to make a separate project from the scratch, thus creating Vintage Story, where Minecraft fails with its outdated plain graphics, broken progression and a world that doesn't really feel alive. Vintage Story surpasses what initially inspired it. It maintains the same blocky style, adding native shaders with realistic lighting, while blending primitive survival with Lovecraftian horror. The game is difficult. You will die quite a bit, either from starvation or genuinely scary monsters, or you will fall victim to wolves, bears and other animals. I got the game without reading anything about it, just basing my purchase on vibes and the fact that Dwarf Fortress community loved it. I am not regretting my choices whatsoever, and here are my first impressions after 10 hours spent in game. Aside from a character creator with astonishing amounts of choices for hairstyles, what? The start was similar to the other games from the genre. Slightly steep learning curve, getting accustomed to the key bindings, and overall tomfoolery as you try to figure out your first objectives. At first, we have to obtain at least 2 stones firm enough to start napping. I managed to reach that stage myself, but seeing that I'm unable to craft any kind of a pickaxe, I completed the in-game guide, which also guides you through the basics of building a campfire. This is when Vintage Story first pats the player on the back, letting you know that even though it may be challenging, it doesn't artificially increase its difficulty by forcing you to go on the game's Wikipedia or spend hours watching YouTube guides. It was clear that the in-game guide is a godsend gift, and I will be coming back to it every other minute. It was then time to find clay and enter the age of pottery, and as I fool around in the gameplay footage, I will openly tell you about 2 things I immediately disliked. At first, I couldn't believe that the game wanted me to manually nap and mold blocks to the desired shape, one small cube at a time.
No, I don't think so.
It was when I was making yet another mold or a container and I thought to myself, this is horrible, this can't be possibly true, right? And you know what? It wasn't. Duplicate layer. Wow, what? Okay, that is so much better. While Vintage Story sticks to a comfortable level of realism, it doesn't want you to cry and suffer. It offers tools that speed up the process. You can choose different sizes for the clay cubes or duplicate the previous layer, and while napping, you only need to destroy the particles that connect your desired shape to the rest of the material. Can it still be tedious? Yes, a little bit, especially with pottery, since you will be doing it for various things that are absolutely necessary. But as you get used to it, the process will become faster, and as of the tool making, you will progress to the copper era that will no longer require usage of primitive tools. Besides, I believe that the durability of the tools is really well balanced, so it's not that bothersome. One of the biggest problems I had when starting out was hunger. There are plenty of resources around, but unless thrown in a stew inside a cooking pot, they will not offer many calories. The next one was totally on me, as it was not believing the in-game guide, as wild as it may sound, and being flabbergasted when things actually work. For instance, I couldn't believe that pit kiln is crafted by blocks interacting with themselves in a one-by-one hall, rather than it being a craftable workstation. But once I built one, then wasted hours of in-game time by not securing its roof from the rainfall, I realized how advanced and immersive this game is about to be. Oh yeah, 2 hours 12 minutes. Past the 2-hour mark, when the hunger started being even more troublesome, I made the decision to relocate my outpost to a more fertile land. This led me across a mountain near the edge of the forest that was home to many animals. Mr. Ram. After a few trips, I managed to relocate all the items and started to build a very primitive hut. At this stage in game, you do not have access to any planks, and it wasn't until later that I realized I can make cobblestone blocks with stones and clay. I focused on setting up some farmland and getting started on panning for copper nuggets. It was time-consuming but rewarding, as through panning not only you can get copper, but some other various ores and random items. I was lucky enough to find a copper spearhead. No way! That shortly after turned into a tool for my demise. Do we? Yes, we do. Fortunately, the game is kind enough to show you the location of your gravestone, so it didn't take long for me to retrieve the items. The moment I managed to melt some copper, pour the molten metal into a mold, and then grab my new pickaxe, I felt shifting into a new era. On the next day, I kept expanding resources, making more tools, and finally placing down some pre-tier building blocks. But by no means does that mean I am anywhere near completing the construction of my house. As the first playthrough was nearing the 10-hour mark, I ran into a first major obstacle. Prospecting is a game mechanic which allows for the usage of a prospecting pick, with which you sample the area in order to determine whether it's worth digging down or moving elsewhere. This was what took the most of my time, as I tried 2 different approaches and neither of them really yielded any proper results. The terrain around me proved to be lacking in ore deposits. My first thought was to move towards the locations I mapped out earlier and try my luck there, but Vintage Story is no Minecraft. When the latter has caves generating pretty much anywhere and everywhere, the former makes them rare or at least uncommon, and also a cave doesn't automatically equal any resources. It took me hours of traveling, digging 3 blocks to sample and then running further away. I started to lose hope, and eventually I just gave up and read a prospecting guide on Vintage Story Wiki, which explained the process in detail. As much as the in-game guide offers required information to get started, it could benefit from answering some questions that naturally sprout in the head of a gamer. What's the range of the sample? Does it take the y-axis into consideration, or only the sampled area that is limited by 16 blocks? And most importantly, how often should I stop to prospect to get the best results? But after learning the proper technique, which in short is that you do not need to travel across the y-axis, as the game kind of does that for you, and also you can prospect every 180 blocks and watch the values change and follow the spots that indicate a possible direction of a nearest hotspot for a desired ore. Now, I kind of understand the idea of prospecting. But we reached the 10-hour mark, so it's time to summarize the video. Do I recommend Vintage Story? Absolutely. It has its problems. For instance, I was at times annoyed by the weird item pickup proximity. You can be standing directly above an item that was accidentally thrown at a campfire, and your character will fail to take it, but the items that you throw away on purpose will likely come back to you if you don't dash away quickly. Aside from that, there is a certain time investment needed for getting accustomed to the key bindings, but that's completely normal. Oh my god, as I'm editing, I got PTSD because I need to mention this. This is such a huge thing for people who love building in sandbox games. Building is tedious. Like, this is something the developers definitely have to work on. Maybe it's just when it comes to slabs, but I had so many issues placing the foundation and the staircase that I was quite literally losing my mind at some point. As to the positive traits of the game, they vastly outnumber the negative ones. The single player progression is amazing, very rewarding, hard but not artificially difficult, all that paired up with some minor jump scares. Oh my god! The game most definitely wants you to grind for some resources, so if you don't mind reading in-game guides, learning new processes and game mechanics, and you have a primitive survival itch that Minecraft or Terraria don't seem to be able to scratch, I would say this game may very well be for you. I also noticed that the in-game traders have a tab called Auction House. I haven't touched it yet, but I am really excited to try it out soon. Overall, my impressions are extremely positive, and I can't wait to start on animal husbandry, progress into next level of smithing, and get started with some armor making and leatherworking. And to those like me who are addicted to farming and cooking in games, oh boy, there are so many things in here. You can make pies, breads from different flours. You know what? I will do it. Let's see how much is 80 HP. Holy fuck! You can even pickle your meals. I think this may mean that there are seasons in game, although I haven't looked it up yet. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please consider leaving a sub if you liked the video, and I will see you next time.